That's working fine. 26 waiting. Okay, good. All right. Usually it's like 5 waiting.
Dan draws
then
a crowd.
It gets up.
That's it.
It's the facial hair.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, and do you want me to do a fade to black so you know where to start the show?
No, because it's on delay. So you got to tell me when it's finished, and you can just say "go ahead" or something like that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but you got to go over to.
No, it's done. The commercial's done.
Oh, is it already? Amazing.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Pure panic in Tad's voice there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg's Ask a Gettysburg Guide. And today, God knows what's going to happen. God knows what's going to happen, because I certainly don't know what's going to happen. I thought we were doing a show about one thing, and then it turns out we're doing it about another thing. And then I go, oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. So it was always about the same thing. I am not a good secretary to myself is really what the problem was. So whatever, we're going to have a good time with it anyway. And I want to tell you something before we get going. Very important, especially for those of you who visit Gettysburg. This episode is brought to you by, not the episode. The pizza, and I guess the episode, is brought to you by Antica Napoli, the greatest pizza place in Gettysburg. They know the show. They watch the show. They know that we get their pizza every other week when we do Ask a Guides Live to feed everybody. And they said, you know what, man? On us. The pizza's on us. Tad, go to number 6 there so people can see their website.
We're at 6.
What?
We're at 6. I have to tell you because you can't see.
That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, this is their website. As you can see, the number 717-334-2600. They're located over on Washington Street. You're going to love it, especially if you're like me and our guests who are from Connecticut. I'm from North Jersey. And I don't know, I'm going to speak for everybody and say that we're kind of pizza snobs. We're used to very good pizza. And once you go west of the Delaware, it's very hard to find real pizza. Antica Napoli is that pizza here in Gettysburg. So check them out, 334-717-334-2600, anticanapoli.com, anticanapolipizza.com, excuse me. Okay, so our guests today on this Ask a Guide. First of all, our licensed battlefield guide today is our old friend Chris Army. And I mean old because of long time, and also you're older than I am.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. And sitting with Chris are 2 people who came all the way down here from Connecticut. So we want to make sure they have a good time tonight. First, we have Dan Hayden, the director from the New England Civil War Museum. Dan, welcome. And Matt Valier or Valier?
Valier.
Valier. All right. Matt Valier from, he's the collections guy at the Connecticut State Capitol. So they both come in here. Very kind of them to do that. Thank you, guys. And then in the back, of course, we have Tad and Court. And is Carolyn back there? I can't see. Oh, yeah. And Carolyn Ivanov, who wrote this fantastic book. We call it We Fought at Gettysburg. And it really is good. It's about the 17th Connecticut. A lot of great quotes in there from those lads, the ones who made it enough to be quoted. So let us start the show today. We're talking about, it's wooden nutmeggers at Gettysburg, but also flags and also whatever. Chris, why don't you explain the name? Because I know that was a question that came up a few times.
Explain which name?
Your name. Yeah. How'd you get the name Christopher?
It's from my mom. She named me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, really. The name Wooden Nutmeggers.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, the Wooden Nutmeggers. Well, as a matter of fact, I have a document here, Matt, that talks about the Wooden Nutmeggers. And what's great is this is from Connecticut Public TV. Mm-hmm. They have a cool picture, and they put a stripe right across from it. But I want to show you this, Matt, because I think that's sacks of nutmeg in the back of the wagon.
Okay.
But they're in the shape of a nutmeg. So they looks like these huge nutmegs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're wooden or not, but
okay.
I suppose they are because they come from a tree.
So that's how they got the name?
No.
Okay.
I just thought it was a cool photo to show you. A cool photo to show you. So, they are a spice, as you know from Christmas time when you put nutmeg in your drink.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They've been used to flavor food since medieval times. That's a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the spice trade being what it was, a lot of fighting back and forth for the spice trade, but Connecticut merchants imported the nutmeg during the colonial era, and it was widely used in cuisine.
Huh.
I've never really used it in cuisine other than some drinks, but apparently people do.
Right.
That's maybe some pies. Apple
yeah,
pies.
I was going to say pies, you would use that.
Pies.
Yeah.
Sure, it's in a lot of stuff that we just don't know.
Yeah,
probably.
It could be. Let's say that's true.
Yeah.
And I like that. So, the origin of the wood nutmegs is that unscrupulous Yankee peddlers who sold Connecticut products across the nation also sold fake wooden nutmegs to unsuspecting buyers. I don't really like that story because that portrays Connecticut. What do we call Connecticut citizens?
Connecticutians?
Well, nutmeggers.
Nutmeggers.
Yeah.
Because nobody can figure out Connecticutians.
Connecticonians.
Connecticutites?
Connecticutites. In one version has come to mean a fraud, but I don't believe that's true. I think it has more to do with the fact that wooden nutmeggers. It sounds sturdy and solid.
Right. Right.
And,
we were just talking about that this afternoon. Actually, we think that the name actually changes a little bit in meaning because of the Civil War, whereas before it was about the peddlers, the Yankee peddlers.
Unscrupulous.
Right? Unscrupulous. That actually describes this very well, doesn't it? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, there was a book written right after the war under a pseudonym. What was the pseudonym's name?
Frederick Fry, I think.
Why am I not getting you? Hold on there. Sorry, go ahead. Keep talking into your mic.
It was one of the veterans of the 3rd Connecticut Regiment. So right at the beginning of the war, you had the 75,000 call from volunteers from President Lincoln, and Connecticut sent 3 regiments, and they went to Bull Run, Manassas. And of course, we know what happened there, right, with the skedaddle and everything. But the Connecticut soldiers were actually well known for not only holding their positions in battle during that, when they fought on Henry House Hill by the Robinson House, but on the route back, they were one of the groups of rear guard that were holding back the Confederate cavalry while they were trying to nip at the heels of the Federals retreating. And so the name used for that book was Wooden Nutmegs, a humorous story of the skedaddle from Washington, but it was all about all of the, not only holding back the Confederate cavalry, but they recaptured and saved a lot of federal property that was being thrown on the side of the road. So we think right around that time is when it started to change into more of a tough, spiritual name.
Right. Kind of like how Yankee Doodle was an insult, but then we're like, we like it.
Iron nutmeggers.
Yeah. What's that, Tad?
Iron nutmeggers.
Iron nutmeggers.
There is a story about that.
Okay. I don't know why your microphone isn't working. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not okay. The audience can't hear you.
Too accommodating, Matt.
Yeah, let's do a show where the microphones
Stop
aren't
being
working.
nice.
You can hear me like the disembodied voice on the back.
Yeah, right. Well, keep shouting until I figure it out. Go ahead. You guys take it away. Go ahead. It's your
I
show.
think we've exhausted that topic, right?
Well,
You want to talk more about nutmegs?
No. So, okay.
Yeah, iron nutmeggers.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Talk. So we're talking about the like color bearers and things like that today, really.
Yeah.
It's not Connecticut at Gettysburg, though we should mention for people who are fans of Connecticut at Gettysburg, that they're the 2nd Connecticut Artillery, 5th Connecticut Infantry, 14th, 17th, 20th, 27th Connecticut Infantry. Anybody I'm missing?
I think you've got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
there was heavy artillery down in Frederick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
all right. Well, then, so yes, you were saying with that was it. There was one little button there. So now while you're talking, I'm going to adjust the flavor.
little button there.
Yes. All right.
So
go ahead.
What we wanted to do was talk a little bit about the work that these gentlemen are involved in. So I don't think we'll have a whole lot of this regiment went here and there tonight, other than, you know, how it maybe involves some of the flag bearers. Because I think that there's some really awesome work that these guys do, and I wanted to make sure that your audience got a chance to hear from them. So, so while it's described as Connecticut at Gettysburg, you know, it's flags.
Yeah.
And it's the,
well, don't worry.
War Museum.
By the time tomorrow morning comes, I will have changed the title and the description.
And hopefully we'll be home by then.
Yeah. Oh, we'll all be home.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I know sometimes the shows can go a little long, Matt.
Yes. We're not going that long tonight. I've had a long day already.
Okay. All right.
So, so the flag bearers then, what is the dilly with the flag bearers then? Now, first of all, in case we've got anybody in the audience who isn't familiar with Civil War battles, or maybe is new to it all, and they never can figure out why everybody's walking around with all these flags. Because I mean, what a great target you make yourself, right? Big giant, and these aren't small flags. It's a big giant flags.
Yeah.
What is that about, boys?
Well, yeah, I guess I'll get into that. I mean, the basic function of having colors on the line is to mark the center of your line so everybody in the regiment knows where you are. It's also a tool for higher command to know exactly where each regiment is in the line. But of course, in an age before communication, like wireless communications, like radios and telegraph and all of that kind of stuff, used on the battlefield in the front line, it was a way to communicate the regiment is going forward, the regiment is going to the rear, we're doing this, go with the flag. You know, constantly in battle, you'd hear officers shouting, dress on the colors, dress to the colors, rally on the colors. So that's the main function for flags in combat. But of course, there's the sentimental value of these. These are flags that might have been presented from the ladies or of your community, that might have been purchased by a big financier in your community or county, or even at the state level. So, and it very much had this kind of Greek Spartan mentality to it, you know, come back with your shield or upon it type thing. Don't let it fall into the hands of the enemy. You know, if you lost your flag, that was something disgraceful. But if you captured, at least if you're a Union soldier, if you captured a flag, you could be up for the Medal of Honor. So, you know, that's where we get the game, capture the flag, you know, anybody.
And it came to represent home.
Yeah.
And this was the thing that they brought with them from home. This was their representation of their identity from home. So being hundreds of miles away from home, this was very, very central to their identity as a group, as a unit.
So it starts off with a practical military purpose, but it kind of takes on a life of its own once the soldiers start to identify with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now, if you think of the in battle, you know, for folks that may be new to this, you know, figure two lines of men on either side. You have everybody firing, so a lot of noise there. You have the smoke from those guns, so it's hard to see. And you have maybe artillery firing over and you know, creating smoke as well. So that's why the flags were pretty large. You want to be able to see them through the smoke. You want to be able to watch what they do. As Matt said, if it goes forward, you go forward.
Yeah.
If the flag goes back, you go back. So yeah, it served definitely a military purpose during that time.
And so I'm imagining then, because it has a military purpose, that for the opposing military, it's going to be a target for capture, but also the guy carrying it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So Connecticut got a good number of regiments from Connecticut here, as we know from Carolyn's wonderful book. The 17th Connecticut really has a good time. 27th Connecticut. It's only 75 of them or something like that, I think, when they start off. And, you know, they have a great time. A lot of fun for Connecticut boys. I'm sure flag bearers are having a hard time, too. So tell us about some of your flag bearing stories.
Yeah. Well, I guess, we'll start with the 17th Connecticut because they're among the first Connecticut troops to see action here at Gettysburg. So, without getting into the tactical parts of the 17th movements here, basically they get out to Barlow's Knoll. And when they come into contact with the enemy, I mean, it is just a devastating fire right off the rip. Douglas Fowler is killed. And then let me just pull up my notes here so I remember all the names. There's so many of them. So going into the action, there are two guys carrying the flag. You have Sergeant Cyrus T. Batshelter, and then he's carrying the national flag.
Okay.
Carrying the state flag is Corporal Henry T. Burns.
Right, because that's another point, is that you're not just carrying the American flag or the national flag, you're carrying your state's flag as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, of course, around them, they would have had a number of guys in the color guard. Their sole duty is just to go and pick up the flag or protect the colors if they have to. But going into the action, the regiment comes under fire. And let me get down to the 17th in my notes here.
And that was the other point about that being part of home, was that you do have the national flag. You get the red and the stars and stripes, but you also have one that is designed specifically using symbology from your home state.
Yeah, so you called it the state flag, but it would have like something on there to indicate which regiment it belongs to, right?
Yeah.
It's not like everybody gets the Connecticut state flag and they all look the same. Is that
Yeah,
is that
I
right?
mean, and especially at Gettysburg, there are a number of different flags in design, both national and state flags. I wish I had more pictures that I could like flash up onto the screen, but I'll try to describe them the best I can. The 17th Connecticut had a large blue flag, and then at the central device is the design right in the middle of it, and that has the seal of the state of Connecticut. And then right behind it, offset behind it, is the federal shield. And then perched on top of the seal of Connecticut is a large eagle. And then underneath it on one side would be the state motto, Qui transtilit sustinet. And then on the
Easy
other
for
side.
you to say.
Right.
Means we got to get some pizza tonight.
Yes. On the other side would be the regimental designation. So you'd have whatever unit you were in. And then the same on the national flag would also have your regiment's name, but, different designs come up throughout the war. The first one has an eagle in the canton perched on a federal shield. Once the state of Connecticut stops putting funds forward to purchase national flags for regiments, because the Army is procuring these things to give to regiments, they're going to save some cash because they have to, of course, supply troops still at the state level. So they start to pay a little bit more to get flags rather than locally in Hartford. They're starting to get them by Tiffany. So the design changes a little bit. And that's where we start seeing like the embroidered flags that are purchased privately. There are painted flags that look like the embroidered ones, but there's a little more design level in it with like these full scale paintings as part of the central device. And if you're listening, I really recommend you look up just on Google, type in, 20th Connecticut flag, and you'll see them pop up online. But there are a bunch of different designs that are even just here at the Battle of Gettysburg, not even in the 30 infantry regiments that the state raised through the war.
So you mentioned embroidered. I always thought that was, I knew embroidery was around then, but I didn't realize they did that with at least military flags until I thought that was a 20th century thing. So there would have been some embroidered flags out here.
Yeah.
So they weren't all silk.
They were all silk.
Oh, they were.
But there were embroidered designs on them.
On the silk.
On the silk. Yep.
That doesn't sound very sturdy.
It's actually a lot sturdier than some of the painted flags that we have in the collection. They are very, very well made flags.
Like the embroidery isn't too heavy for the silk and it can withstand whatever.
I mean, it's certainly heavier, but just the fact that, the paint isn't going to crack on you because it's embroidered,
right?
It holds together very well.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the design holds together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the painting. So who would do the paintings on them? Because I've seen some of these pictures.
Yeah.
And they're very good. Like they're really nice paintings. By somebody who knows what they're doing. It's not somebody just painting a smiley face on a bed sheet and calling it a flag. Like this is a real painting. Who would they get somebody local to do? Like who would do that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny you mentioned local. So in Hartford, there was a guy named Frederick F. Rice. He was what we would probably term today a graphic designer. And his whole thing was just painting signs. This is something that his father had done. And after his father passed away, he just continued on in that tradition. So if you look at a lot of the signs that they painted, which there are surviving ones at the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History. Say that 5 times fast, really quick.
I'll try. I'd rather not.
It's a wonderful museum, but they have a lot of these surviving, tavern signs, inn signs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a couple of the Rice family ones. So you can see those design elements when Frederick Rice was approached by the state of Connecticut to make flags. He took those design elements just straight out of his own work and put it on the flags. So that's one guy. There were a couple other local guys that got that design. I don't know them personally by name because Frederick Rice was the principal guy in state that would do that. Basically, William Aiken, who was the quartermaster general for the state, he would just, send a letter down to Windsor Street where Frederick Rice studio was. And he would be like, hey, I need 10 flags. I need 10 state flags, or I need 5 national flags for these regiments. And he would make them. And then they would go to said regiments. At the same time, out of state, there was a contract with Tiffany. This guy named John Almy, he was a friend of the Tiffany family. So he kind of had an in, but he was a friend of, Aiken. I think he also knew Buckingham personally.
Governor Buckingham.
Yeah, okay. Governor Buckingham.
Not Lindsay.
No. He
just derailed his train of thought.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, man.
No. Well, I'm getting right back on it. So he would go down to New York City, and he would be like, "Hey guys, I need a few flags. Can you make them for me?" And he gave them Frederick Rice's design, and they made a few painted flags this way. He also started a group called the Sons of Connecticut in New York. So when units would pass through New York City, they would be presented a flag or even a stand of colors.
No, wait. So stop right there.
Yeah.
Flag versus stand of colors.
Yes.
Explain that.
So flag, and this is just my own terminology from what I understand in, flag research.
Okay.
A flag is one singular flag. A stand of colors is more than one flag.
So national and state.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have 2 flags. Unlike on the Confederate side, most units only carried the one flag. Most Union units were supposed to have 2 flags, the national and then regimental / state, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Continue then.
Yeah. So they would get a number of those flags, but then they wanted to change the design. And then we get what is a lot closer to those embroidered flags that were purchased privately from Tiffany or the contractors through Tiffany.
This was before the trademark Tiffany blue too.
Yes. Yeah. They didn't come in a little teal box and,
I don't get that. I never could afford Tiffany, so I'm not one of those rich Connecticut people like you. So
I don't have a teal box in my house. Trust me.
Please, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. You talked about it like you knew it too well.
Right.
Sorry, I really
right.
But all right. So the now when you said that they would give him or give them, what's his face's design? What was his name?
Rice.
What do you mean by they would give him the design to paint themselves, or
Yes.
did they? Okay, so then what does he have? A stencil or paint by numbers? Like what?
I mean,
How does that work?
honestly, I think he probably just gave them whatever drawing that Frederick Rice
And then they
had.
would just copy it by
And-
eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at these flags, I mean, these were talented artists that were painting these and embroidering them. But I mean, some of these, just looking up at them close, it's just like, how is this person not in an art museum? But,
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind that, the talented artists through Tiffany probably just saw that. They got the measurements of, what it was supposed to be in size, and they just did it.
Right.
So there's that one design, Frederick Rice's design. Then the design changes where the shield is no longer just the Connecticut seal with the federal shield behind it. It becomes one shield. So you have the federal shield on one side and then the Connecticut state seal on the other side.
Okay.
And then on top of it, you would have a scroll with a eagle perched on top of it. At the top, there's a banner that reads the regimental designation. And then at the bottom is the state motto. And that would be reversed on the other side as well. So it would be still double-sided. And they basically just take the design that they use to embroider them and paint them that way. Now, the painted ones would have painted seams behind the central device, that shield. There are 4 paintings that they used. I don't know if they used them in every single one of them, but you would have had the bridge at Norwich, also known as Uncas Leap. If you're from the Norwich area, you might recognize that name. The other side would have had a painting called the Oxbow, and it actually has nothing to do with Connecticut as a state, but it's a part of the Connecticut River that goes up into Massachusetts. And it's an oxbow in Massachusetts from Mount Holyoke, where you look down.
Heard of that.
The oxbow is no longer in existence. The small part of it broke a number of years ago, but you can kind of see the outline of it now today still. So that was the other painting. On the other side of it, you would have had a painting of the Charter Oak tree, one of our staple images in Connecticut. And then the last painting was called Judge's Cave, which is a grouping of rocks in New Haven that hid English judges during or right after the English Civil Wars and during the, I forget what they call it, back when Charles II came back to power. And that was a symbol for Connecticut. Now, in the sky in that last painting would have been the phrase, resistance to tyrants is credence to God. So it was a very, very, very ornate flag.
Yeah, and then they take them to get shot at.
Yes.
It's so much work, but that's the thing. That's a weird human thing. Like we put so much work and effort and meaning into something, we make beauty out of it, and then we go and destroy it.
Yeah.
And we can, when you're doing your conservation of the flag, you can tell where the bullets have passed through it.
Yeah. So you do conservation of flag. That's how you know about flags.
Yep.
And we have a lot of questions coming up regarding the process there. So I don't want to get too into it and take away people's questions and stuff. But how do you do that? I mean,
patience.
Yeah.
A lot of patience.
I mean, it's got to be. It has to be difficult to do and nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, how are you afraid, or are you afraid that you're going to ruin it by making a false move or spilling your Dunkin' Donuts coffee on it, or like honestly, do these things?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, especially the Civil War flags in our collection, because our collection isn't just the Civil War ones. We have Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, and so on.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a really cool timeline of flags. What it takes for flag conservation, and notice I said conservation over restoration, because we don't want to return that flag to how it looked when it was first given to the troops.
I don't like that, yeah.
We want it for all its tears and imperfections and stains.
Yeah, it's battle scars.
And that's exactly what the veterans wanted when they brought them to the state capitol. And that's similar with other states like Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Michigan, Pennsylvania. So basically what my job is, I do some of that hands-on work, which is very nerve-wracking. Dan has helped me out before, and a few of my other friends at the New England Civil War Museum.
It's a mix of, I'd say it's a mix of ecstasy and terror at the same time.
Yeah.
Of being able to be in the presence of these.
I could believe that, yes, because it's this important piece of history. It's one of a kind, right? It's not like the uniform of a certain regiment and there's a bunch of them out there and everything like that. This is one of a kind. This was the flag that they carried. It might be their second or their third, but it's still the flag they carried. It's in tatters. It earned every one of those tears, whether it be
years old,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near it. I would not. I went. Where was I? I went. It was up near Carlisle, and I don't remember how. It was when I first started doing this. Somebody invited me to see a bunch of PA battle flags that were up there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Bob Steenstra took me there.
Sure. Have you the Pennsylvania?
It was in
the flag.
Yeah, they have a.
It wasn't in it wasn't Harrisburg.
It was not in Harrisburg.
No.
Oh,
it was it. God, I wish I could remember where that was.
So the War College or something, maybe.
No, it was south of Harrisburg. It was. I'm sorry, south of Carlisle. It was like we were on our way up to Carlisle.
Army Heritage?
Nope, that's up on 81. No. Anyway,
the Stuckies that used to be off of exit 31 there.
Yeah, it was like somebody had it in a minivan in a Stuckies parking lot. It's like, look at my battle flag.
Yeah, it was a battle flag.
I know that
cool.
guy. That guy.
Yeah, he's got a big trench coat with battle flags in it. No, I don't remember what it was, but all I remember was like I was like it was like when Indiana Jones finds the Holy Grail. I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't want to. He had to go near the Holy Grail. I didn't want to go near it. I didn't, because I was afraid. Like all of a sudden, I'd have like a coffee in my pocket that I forgot about that would just spill out or whatever. So like I did, but it was really cool to see these things because and I've seen replicas, and replicas are nice. Especially when they're like hand painted like they were. But this is something different because this was the real thing. And it had that age on it and that patina and the rips and the tears and the holes and everything. And I don't know, there's just something cool about a tattered flag. You know what I mean?
I love a salty flag.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like we are very aware that there's a lot of DNA on those flags as well.
Do you ever test them for DNA?
No, that's something... I don't quite have the resources for that yet, but I mean, there's a few of them, specifically say that so-and-so was killed and fell on the flag and the next guy had to roll him off of it and to pick it up and then he was killed and, and so on and so forth. So there is, I mean, without a doubt, whether it was cleaned, after the war or something like that is, it's up for debate, but I have no doubt in my mind that there's DNA.
So there's
that.
Is there visible blood on some of them, or
I haven't even on
or is
some
it hard
of the
to
ones.
tell?
That's the thing. I mean, I haven't seen anything where I'm like that's blood, and even like looking at some of the ones that specifically say this guy was killed.
Yeah.
And fell on the flag.
Yeah.
And like some of them were like looking like with like the little magnifying glass. We're like,
trying to find it like in the fibers and stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, they're certainly dirty, especially the ones that have not received any sort of conservation. But I have no doubt in my mind that it's on there.
So conservation, you made a distinction between preservation and conservation. So you're basically just staving off decay. Is that essentially what you're doing?
More or less, yeah. Just stabilizing the flag so that it can be moved and handled. Not like I'm going to put it back on a pole and carry it around, but enough where we can lay it flat, flat frame it and put it out for display for a certain amount of time.
What's the worst conditioned flag that you have?
Oh, there's a few of them.
The 11th is probably one.
The 11th Connecticut is, it's a really nasty one in terms, not in its beauty. It's a beautiful flag, but it is torn and brittle. And nothing was ever taken care of that flag. I think probably one of the worst ones, if not the 11th Connecticut, I would say is the second state flag of the 14th Connecticut.
Okay.
In terms of missing, I would say the 17th state flag, because there is like two little things of the central device left. It was souvenired away,
Oh, okay. Because there's some, and I can't remember which regiment it is. Maybe somebody in the back would remember if you guys don't remember. What is it?
I think you're thinking of the 16th Maine.
No. But good one. No, not with the souveniring. It was, there's a photograph of a Civil War soldier holding their battle flag, his regiment's battle flag, and it's just fabric on the pole. Maybe 6 inches is the longest piece hanging off the pole.
We have a couple of those.
Yeah. That.
Actually, we're holding hostage parts of one of the flags at the New England Civil War Museum that is part of the flags that are should be at the state capitol.
Why are you holding it hostage?
Well, you want to tell the story about Ben Hurst?
So one of the members who was one of the Burpee Post members, the post of the GAR that was in where the New England Civil War Museum is now.
Okay.
After the Battle of the Wilderness, he became the national color bearer. But before that, at the Battle of Morton's Ford, he carried the colors off the field when the color sergeant Emory Allen was killed. And he wrote a letter home to his two brothers, Ben and Joe, who were also in the 14th but had been wounded earlier in the war, one at Gettysburg, one at Fredericksburg. And he had just decided, hey, I'm going to cut out a couple pieces and send them home to Ben and Joe to keep as souvenirs, which they did. And then at one point had donated them to the collection of the Post as relics. And they're still there today.
So at the New England Civil War Museum, you're holding hostage this piece of flag history there. But what other things do you have going on there?
Yeah. So just as a quick backstory, so the museum occupies a part of the Vernon, Connecticut town hall, and the town hall was built as the Civil War memorial for the town. So instead of the statue of the dude on the green that a lot of New England towns have, and northern towns, they wanted this to be a civic living memorial. So the part of the building that we're in was purpose built to be used by the Civil War veterans of the area, which, as Matt mentioned, was Thomas F. Burpee Post number 71, and was centered around the little borough of Rockville, manufacturing, textile place. A lot of people came into the area, so they had a pretty sizable post that was there. That part of the building has always been used for the perpetuation of the memory of the Union soldiers of the Civil War. So beautiful original stained glass windows that are there with all the GAR, Grand Army of the Republic symbology. All the woodwork's original, the floor's original. And as the post got older and all the members started to realize their mortality, they started donating a lot of their things that they brought home with them in the future creation of a museum. So the core of our permanent collection is made up of items that were brought home one way or the other from Civil War veterans. Ben and his brothers were collectors also. They have a whole series of letters that we still have, the original letters within the museum, where they'll reference, we found this belt, we found this these pieces of shells, we found this mirror. and they would mail them home to their families as little souvenirs. And we now have all of those things. So we have a range of items that the original Union soldiers brought home that were theirs, but we also have things that are Confederate that they found on the battlefield as well. Probably one of the neatest things on that is Ben, and it's actually Brother Joe, found it at the Battle of Antietam. So the 14th Connecticut was assaulting the Sunken Road at Antietam, and back and forth. They ended up pulling back to the Roulette Farm long enough for the Confederates to fall back right out of the Sunken Road and back into town. Well, afterwards, they all went walking around. Joe picked up this belt. Hey, look at this belt. This is pretty cool. It's got a CS on it. He mails it home. And we realized that inside the belt was written a name. It was D. Leary. And sure enough, if you look up the roster of the regiments, the two Alabama regiments that were directly opposing the 14th Connecticut, there is a Desmond Leary that's there, who was a private. He survived. We looked him up. He survived the war. So not sure when he took off his belt or why he took off his belt, but he did. And it's there. That's it's very few of those versions are still extant.
Couple things real quick to the audience here. 717-420-1978 is the phone number if you want to call in. I'll take calls throughout the show because we have a lot of pre-submitted written questions from our patrons, and so I probably won't have time to get to calls there. So we'll take them through the conversation prior to the break. So go ahead, 717-420-1978. It is pinned in the comment section there. And then also somebody said something about comments not showing up, but it looks like it's working now, because all of a sudden they started coming in a flurry. So I think we're okay there. And we have a super chat. So let me ask the question there from Grant, all the way down in Australia. You know Grant? Okay. Yeah. How do you know Grant?
We listened to your show.
Oh, well, you're very smart then. Very smart. Okay, I didn't realize that. Thank you. Grant says, how did the multi-echelon collapse of the 11th Corps' right flank influence the Connecticut regiment's casualty spikes, and can we model that using brigade-level timing? Shut up, Grant. Such a jerk.
The answer is yes.
So, okay, you want to give him an answer there,
yes.
Guide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. And Tad, when Chris talks, you could use the overhead too, so that it's not.
Well, he's got the camera's like right.
Well,
it's going to show my
Chris,
bald
move
spot
over there a little bit. No, it's behind me. It's behind me.
If you look at it now, you can see that the camera's like, yeah.
Oh yeah. So see, just right. Yeah, just go either to your left or to your right a little bit. Yeah.
How about
okay,
that?
there you go.
How about
All right, don't fall now.
Yeah. So that would be unfortunate. If I understand the question,
you'd be the first.
So, the way that I look at the first day, it's kind of like a tachometer, right? You start on Seminary Ridge, and that tachometer goes way high up to and including Barlow's Knoll, and then the collapse comes back. Now, at the height of Barlow's Knoll is the 17th Connecticut, and so when they're hit. And it's overwhelming because you have Confederate troops coming down two different roads. Yes, they're falling back. So we can pretty much follow their troop movements very easily on that part of the field.
I don't think that was his question.
That was my answer. Let me answer the question he meant to ask.
Right. Let me answer the question I'd rather he had asked. Yeah, he's like a politician.
But I wish I could do that.
Yeah, right. Me too.
Yeah, so again, I think so we don't go down into the weeds with what happened to Gettysburg. Let's save troop movements for another time, unless they involve flag bearers.
Right.
And that'll give me months to figure out what the hell Grant asked.
Yeah. Okay. The next time you're on, it'll be Chris Army finally answers Grant's
question. Just answer that one question.
All right. Good idea. Another super chat from 6 Questions Lens. He says, the photo that I'm thinking of is the 83rd PA. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And Ride the Dutch Gal.
Didn't say it.
What a name. I'm sorry, Ryden the Dutch gal. Forgive me. He didn't do anything. He just sent $1.99. So thank you very much, Mr. Dutch gal. Okay, so
Heck of a ride.
where did we leave off?
Well, we were talking flags and we were talking New England Civil War.
I know, we were going all over the place here. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to jump back into flags?
Well, let's get back into flags, and I want to get some color bear stories. Let's get some good stories going here. All right, and everybody in the back there, if you want to join in, just jump in. Go ahead. The intercom is open.
Yeah. So,
Jesus, Tad.
We'll kick it off with the 17th Connecticut. I know we touched a little bit at the beginning, but we'll dip right in from the beginning. So, Cyrus T. Batchelter of Company D from Bridgeport, he's carrying the national flag, which was procured from by LeGrand Lockwood, who was a very rich.
Sounds it with that name.
LeGrand.
LeGrand Lockwood.
The Grand.
Yeah.
So he finances that flag that the 17th is carrying, the national one. And then Frederick Rice in Hartford makes the state flag. And those flags go into action on July 1st. And Cyrus Batchelter is wounded. After he is wounded, 20-year-old Private John L. Hayes of Company F from Norwalk then picks up the flag. He is bearing the flag to the rear when he is trying to take off his gum blanket. He refers to it as a rubber blanket, but a gum blanket. And as he's doing that, a ball will strike him in the right thigh, striking the bone. And this is how he put it in his words: striking the bone, passed up through the groin, and lodged into his stomach. This is when musician Jimmy Ainscow, or James Ainscow, I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
We know him on a first name basis.
Jimmy. You call him Jimmy, yeah.
He is helping John to the rear. This is around the time that C. Frederick Betts, who was a 16-year-old sergeant major.
Wow. Wait, who's taking orders from a 16-year-old?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. How does he get... wow.
But he was the sergeant major. He had done very well at Chancellorsville, and he goes to get the flag. At this same time, and I hope I'm not getting this wrong, and I know Carolyn's in the background listening to me, making sure everything is right.
She's pounding on the window.
Well, she's shaking her fist. Carolyn, if you'd like to come and get your book here and pull up some quotes, you can read them later when he's finished telling stories, if you like. You don't have to. You could put the other 4 fingers up, Carolyn. Jesus. All right, she didn't like that idea. Never mind. Okay, go ahead.
So around this same time, there is a guy named Daniel S. Garrett out of Company D from Huntington, Connecticut. He is going to run up to Hayes and grab the flag, seeing that he is incapacitated. At around that same time, the C. Frederick Betts, the 16-year-old sergeant major, runs up to the scene, unfolding around the flag, and he takes the flag from Daniel Garrett.
Okay.
And C. Frederick Betts remembers carrying it back to the barnyard where there was a stone wall of the almshouse, or what he termed the poorhouse in his words. And then I think one of my favorite things, I tried to remember it word for word, so I hope I don't butcher it. They saw General Ames there, and they were waiting for orders, which came in the form of several shells bursting above their heads. Basically saying, we got to get the hell out of here.
We don't need, yeah.
we're cooked.
The enemy gave the order.
So at that time, they begin to retreat towards town, into the town. There is an ad hoc, thrown together, let's hold, boys, let's try and stem the tide here. And he gives the flag back to Daniel Garrett. And that story about Garrett is corroborated by Lieutenant Albert Peck of Company D. So
This is over the course of just a few minutes, right?
Right. And all of this is being remembered years and years later on. I know there are a couple accounts that, somebody handed a flag to somebody else and I didn't know his name. You're trying to remember something very chaotic that happened in the span of maybe 20 minutes, 20 years later. You're gonna lose some things, some details.
That's why I always take battle accounts with a grain of salt, even if they're written a day or two or the night of. Like it's an extreme experience, and I don't care how veteran someone is. Yeah. The brain is still the brain, and it's when you're in that
fight or flight.
Yeah, when you're in that mode, especially if your brain is saying fly and you're forcing to stay and fight or being forced to stay and fight, like your brain is not thinking, God, I got to remember this so I can write a letter to Dad.
Right.
So you're probably remembering snapshots, Polaroids of moments, and then you probably talk to some people since, and you color in the rest, and that makes sense. I think I remember that. You don't know.
Yeah,
it's got to be hard. But should I read some of what he says in his letter?
Please do.
So this is
open to reading it if you want her to.
What's that?
No.
Go ahead. Let Matt read.
Okay. No, Matt. Okay, you go ahead and read it.
Okay, you could do the next one, Carolyn. Our colors, which I'm not going to do it that way. Our colors, which were on top of the knoll, apparently attracted the special fire of the rebels. Captain Moore fell in the advance, and if memory serves me right, it was here that Quinn. It's Quinn. Okay, he spelled it like it's Spanish. Quinn, who then took his place in Company C, was shot in the hand. My duties as Sergeant Major took me from right to left, constantly conveying orders and endeavoring to prevent the fleeing members of some Pennsylvania regiment who justified their flight by saying, "Our time ish out." I guess they were German. What is ish?
That would make sense.
Okay.
153rd PA.
From breaking through our lines, and thought many of our best men fell one after another while holding our colors aloft. I failed to get their names and company. As we turned to fall back, Colonel Fowler, who had just been left by General Ames, brought in the rear of our regiment, and as he, with Adjutant Chatfield and myself, started down the slope, we saw slowly following in the rear the advanced line of rebel skirmishers, a light battery on the ridge, which was shelling us and making things quite lively. We had not gone far when, to our horror, we saw Colonel Fowler falling from his saddle as his horse galloped away. So there you go. Poor Fowler was dead, he says. So, and that is written by what's his name?
C. Frederick
Betts of Company A to Lieutenant Colonel Henry Allen. So this is while he's still 16, he's writing this.
I think that was written after the war.
After the war, so they're reminiscing.
Yes.
Okay.
This is when they were collecting information to put a regimental history together, but the gentleman putting it together unfortunately died before they could do that.
Wow.
So after that, so this is around the time that the regiment is starting to break that he's mentioning there. He mentioned running up to Hayes to get the flag. This is where his account and then Daniel Garrett's account kind of don't match exactly, but that's to be expected in the heat of all the chaos going on. You're not going to remember everybody who was there in that one instant. But the fact that all of these are in one place in this wonderful book, you can kind of put that scene together, and its horribleness.
Right.
And
by the way, you said in this wonderful book, and I chuckled, we're not just saying it's a wonderful book because Carolyn is in the back with a revolver. We really do love this book. If you want really, really good accounts, it's all in here. And it's like there's no bullshit you need to get through. It's just the guys.
It's the facts.
Yeah. And that's what I really like about it. And some of these guys have some pretty good accounts. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I did not mention in my telling of the story that the flag staff was struck by cannon ordnance. And they mentioned that 3 stars were carried away when the flag was struck. So even the flag itself was wounded in this action. There was so much stuff flying through the air.
Yeah.
And if you look at the national flag, which I hope everybody who's watching is going to Google it in a separate tab, what the 17th national flag looks like. I mean, it is pretty torn up. I mean, it's not the worst that we've seen, but we know that it was pretty torn up, and the fact that we can place that at least 3 of the stars went missing. Here, out on Barlow's Knoll, I suspect that after the Confederates pushed the 11th Corps back, they probably picked those up. There were some, rebels that were like, "Oh, look at those stars. We're going to take them,"
Or they blew away in the wind.
Or exactly.
Or they're still there.
Yeah.
I hope.
And on a moonless night.
You can hear them rising up over the... Yeah.
So is this that I'm looking at here, Tad, if you want to go to camera, what is that?
So that's the state flag. That's the
state flag. Oh,
and
I see.
as you can see, there is little to nothing left of the state flag.
Wow.
And now that isn't all because of battle damage. I mean, at the end of the war, when these flags came home, before they were turned into the state arsenal, everybody wanted a piece of their state flag, or of their regimental colors.
What was the state arsenal's purpose of keeping the flags? Was it because they bought them?
Yeah, mainly because they were state property.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure how that works when a flag was privately purchased, by a committee of somebody, but generally the general consensus was all the state colors should be together. And they stayed there until the end of the war, until 1879, when our current Capitol building was built on Capitol Ave in Hartford, and the Battle Flag Day happened in 1879. Because the Capitol building in and of itself is a Civil War memorial, which I don't think we have the time to get into that.
Right.
We've only gotten half.
That's a whole other show.
So.
Yeah. We have a call here, so why don't we take the call and talk to whoever this is here. You are on the air, caller, whoever you may be.
This is 6 questions.
Oh, the great 6 questions. So can I cross out your questions now, Chris? 6, Mike, whatever.
Yeah, he's already submitted. I think the 6 questions are 18.
So he's getting
questions,
into 7, maybe 12.
Yeah,
okay.
4 parts to each question.
What you got?
Well,
Mike?
that's the thing about that. I think we could probably save those questions for a different time because none of them have to do with any flag. So that's going to shorten the question session.
That's true. You do have one really good one, though.
Matt, he's asking to withdraw his question.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's literally a whole page of questions or Mike's.
Wow, we got to be here on that day.
That's right. That's right. This is a historic
day. Yeah, Mike's
Somebody
withdrawing his questions.
No further questions.
Wow. Never thought I'd see the day. All right, Mike, what question do you have?
Oh, I do have a question, and specifically about the 27th Connecticut. And them being a 9-month regiment, but suffering significant casualties at Chancellorsville due to capture. What flags did they have at Gettysburg?
I don't know if we want to wait till we get to them in the color bearers, or should we just
go for it. Go for it.
Before he comes up with 5 other questions.
Right. We'll get to it.
Hurry up and answer.
So the 27th Connecticut had both of the flags at Gettysburg that they left the state with. And the reason for that was because at Chancellorsville, when the 27th was put out on the skirmish line, with 2 other companies were sent to the rear. Because Colonel Richard Bostwick, who was commanding the 27th, had the wherewithal, realizing the chaos of the situation, maybe I shouldn't have my colors out where I don't exactly know where the enemy is and where they're going to come from. So that's the reason why those flags were not captured. And they were in the charge going across the wheat field.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I was curious about that because of just how many of those men were captured at Chancellorsville. I was wondering about that. That was legitimate. I didn't know the answer to that question.
One big color guard.
I don't believe that, Mike. You didn't know the answer to that question? This is a historic day.
But I have a question. With a 9-month regiment, would they take as much care with those flags like you described with the other flags? Would they put as much artistry or care into the production of those flags?
Most certainly.
Them being a 9-month regiment.
Yeah, it didn't matter like how long that regiment was going to be in service. The fun fact about the 27th flags is that its state flag, the blue flag, it was originally intended for another regiment. It was originally intended for the 19th Connecticut Volunteers, which later turned into the 2nd Connecticut Heavy Artillery. The 19th had flags privately purchased for them. So when the Quartermaster General, William Aiken, found out that these flags were privately procured, he basically sent that blue flag back to Frederick Rice, because Frederick Rice made that flag, and just asked him to paint over the 19 with 27. And if you look at pictures of it now, it almost looks like it says 29, which we know the 29th Connecticut didn't come until later on. But
we were rolling that up when we were putting that away at conservation.
Yeah,
you could see the original letter, the original 9 underneath the paint that's there.
Yeah. It's a really cool story, specifically with that flag, that it was repurposed. And then its national flag was a New York Depot flag, likely made by Tiffany and or a contractor through Tiffany. And they carried those through Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and Gettysburg.
Do you know how much would they pay to make a flag? How do they
I'm
cost?
trying to remember off the top of my head. I think like one flag cost like $165,
which in 1860s money is $275,000. That's a lot of money for a flag. Yeah,
it's Tiffany's.
That's true. That's true.
It came in a little blue box.
It was just a lady down the street. It would be like equivalent to $10,000. And her name was Tiffany. Yeah, right. No, not Tiffany's. Tiffany.
And she sang songs.
Tiffany Rubenstein down the road.
Yeah. Made a great breakfast there too.
They say they were from New York because she was born on East 14th Street and then she moved to Connecticut. So
when you can with the 9, is that bleeding through, or is it the number on top?
Honestly, they're not really like bleeding through one of another. It's just the numbers don't cover each other very well.
I was going to say, so it was the 9 first, right?
It was the 1 and then 9.
1 9 first, and so to do a 7 over a 9, the 7 had to be huge. Yeah, because the 9,
Let me see if I can pull up a picture here.
Where should I Google?
Just type in 27th Connecticut flag.
27th.
It's like a PDF through the CGA
flag. Yeah. All right, let's see what comes up. And hold on, don't go there yet, Tad, because we don't want.
I can't show that right now.
Right, don't show it right now. So it would be, I guess, this one here. No, that's not it.
What is that? Girls with Flags Gone Wild? Is that?
Oh my!
That's a whole different show.
That's not my collection.
There's a bunch of different. Do you guys see any one of these look right?
That's the 10th.
That's the 10th.
If you scroll,
12th, 13th, 29th. No, 27th.
27th.
Damnation, 17th. No,
I think I have a picture of it right here.
Yeah, let's.
If you want to, I mean, it won't do us any good for the folks watching from home. But that's basically it.
Oh, this?
That is the one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's see where. No, wait, hold on. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Yeah, go. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can see, I mean, it almost looks.
Oh, like down here.
29. Yeah. And that was something when I first started my job, and we pulled that flag out. I was like, how does the 29th Connecticut have a Frederick Rice flag? Like, he wasn't really doing flags anymore in late 63 into 64. But But that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
They just repurposed that flag with not really any sort of ceremony. They didn't like cut out the old number and put a new one in.
Right. It doesn't even look like they painted over the old number with the color of the ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They just painted over.
Yeah. I think
close enough.
Mainly,
Yeah.
the reason I think it was done that way was
Good enough for government
27th
work.
was getting ready to leave at that point. They were like, okay, we need to just give these guys
Just do it.
you know?
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fight
And I
that
think
flag.
in that article that you have up, it talks about how much the quartermaster general paid to have the number switched, and it was like $6
Oh, that's pretty good.
a number or something like that.
Yeah.
They threw him some cash.
Not bad.
He was like,
all right, Tad, take it off. Is it off? Tad?
It's been off.
It's been off. Okay, good. All right, Mike, anything
This is
else?
really inconvenient for us.
I know. We got to figure out why it's not coming back here. Good. Mike, anything else?
No. Thank you so much. I mean, I had relatives who served in Connecticut Regiment.
oh,
So
lovely.
this is really I won at Gettysburg, the 20th Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So
Right on the
it-
other side of the field.
And yeah, so it's for me. It's just a thrill just to listen to the stories of the flags, and that he may have served under that flag is really, really cool. So,
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
thank you for the
Have a good
questions,
night,
and
guys.
that's why we do it.
You too, Mike. Thanks for the question, sir. We got another phone call. Might as well take it here. This is from Anonymous. Abby someone.
Abby,
Abby someone.
normal.
Abby normal.
What hump?
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain in a 300-pound gorilla? Anonymous, you're on the air. Yeah, we should do a Mel Brooks tribute
Yeah,
episode.
Mel Brooks meets Gettysburg.
Yeah. You're on the air. I bet this is Grant.
Hello, people.
Yeah. It is Grant. Hello, Grant. How are you?
Very well, thank you. A very good show. As I said in the comments, this show is so good, your podcast, Matt, because you come up. There's so many topics that you never thought to research or look into, but this is very interesting. So thanks for the show.
Okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
So I've got two questions.
There it is.
Okay.
Firstly, did the Connecticut Regiment's flags, did they have sort of equal sort of survival during the battle and the war compared to other regiments, or did they lose more than other units?
Like the flags themselves or the color bearers themselves?
Yes, the flags. Flags.
Most of the Connecticut flags came home in 65 or earlier, whenever those regiments were mustered out. There were two that I can think of that were captured during the war. So out of 30 infantry regiments, times two, you have like 60 flags. Is that how math works? I don't know. I was a major dude.
You're just as good as I am in that.
So you have,
I think it's around 200, but
Yeah. Let me get my calculator.
yeah.
So you have two flags per regiment. So out of that, only two of those flags were captured during the war. So pretty good track
pretty good.
record
Out of
for not
60?
losing flags.
Yeah, that's really good.
The ones that were captured were the 5th Connecticut's national flag at Cedar Mountain and the 15th Connecticut's second issued flag that they had gotten almost right at the end of the war. And then they're at Wise Forks and they get overwhelmed and that flag is captured.
So a brand new flag.
Brand
they
new.
got, yeah.
Which,
Well, you also had,
yeah.
by not overtly captured, but still kind of captured because you had the 16th Connecticut.
yes,
We'll talk about that.
the 16th. So the 16th Connecticut at Plymouth, North Carolina, they're overwhelmed, surrounded, they're forced to surrender. But beforehand, their stand of colors is ordered to be destroyed rather than to fall into the hands of the enemy, similar to the 16th Maine here at Gettysburg. So a number of those pieces were torn. I mean, the whole flag is torn to bits. And then after the war,
Everybody takes a piece.
everybody took a piece, and they went through Andersonville, Florence, all the prison camps. And those who had survived and were willing to give up their piece, a reunion flag was put back together of the remaining bits.
That's cool.
Really, really, really cool story.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the 16th Connecticut, specifically for that story. I mean, among other reasons. So yeah, I mean, only a few flags, you can count them on one hand, were captured or lost during the war. But the rest all made it home. Not to of course, with their imperfections and tears and stains, but they came home.
Yeah.
They're in your office.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You get to play with them, and that's work. Anything else, Grant?
Yes, just one other question. Thanks, Matt. This is kind of a more general question, but with regimental flags, did the troops, obviously they had a lot of pride in them, but obviously because it meant a lot, and it was a symbol of their state, and in battle that's what they were drawn to. But did they have pride in the appearance of it, like the artistry in the flag itself? Did they say, look at because the Connecticut flags I've seen through the show, they're beautifully done. But did troops say, here's another state's flag, it looks crap compared to, like, ours is that much better. Say, did they, like, look at the state regimental flag from, say, New Jersey and say, this is unimaginative and plain and done badly and half-assed?
Yeah. And there's exhaust
Did they
soot on it.
compare the artistry of it?
Not that I've come across yet. I mean, there's still a lot of undiscovered primary sources and stuff out there. So, certainly not out of the question that people had feelings about other units and other states' flags and their designs.
Particularly New Jersey.
Yeah, specifically New Jersey. Not that I've heard of.
There you go, Grant. You got your Jersey shot.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you pick something I care about? I left New Jersey for a reason. With all due respect to whoever's remaining.
Okay. Well, I'll let you get back to the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Grant. God go with you. All right. So, all right.
Court had something he wanted to.
Court has
earlier.
something. What would you like to say, Court?
There is a really neat poem in that.
Could you move closer to the microphone or yell?
There is a neat poem in that Battle Flag Day book. Yes. I don't know if you were going to touch on that, but it's one of my favorites.
Would you like to come in here and read it?
A dramatic reading.
Could you do a dramatic reading of it? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, we wanted to do a dramatic reading tonight. So.
What, is that a yes or a no?
Yeah, I can do it, but I wasn't. Okay.
I know you weren't asking, but I'm asking if you want to come in and do it.
I think I already know the one that you're talking about, so I have it open for you.
Come over to mic 2.
Were you going to touch a poem?
Please do.
It popped into my head when Grant was talking about
that poem always brings a tear to my eye.
Sit on Dan's lap and use his microphone.
Remember, dramatic.
Yeah, but you got to get to the mic, Court.
I mean,
this kid does not understand how any of this works. And he's been around for a year.
Yeah, it's Charlie.
Either kneel or pull the mic up to you.
Hold on, I gotta get in the groove here. So this is called Charlie. There in the corner is his piece. I picked the place with care. The boy would shout, "You may believe," if he could see it there. The time he slipped it in my hand, I'll e'er remember well. It seemed the meanest day of all, down in that southern hell. We had been prisoners a year, and spring once more had come. Each day with hungry mouths and hearts, we grew more fierce for home. Till one night, Charlie slipped away. The guard was drunk, you see, and Charlie said he could not stay. He would be dead or free. They brought him back, a bullet through his shoulder and his breast, torn by a bloodhound's ugly teeth, and never mind the rest. But this, his courage quite was gone, and he broke down at last. It needed but a look at him to know that hope was past. Still Charlie never spoke a word until his hour had come, then softly slipped it in my hand and said, "You take it home, I'm getting free." He turned aside, while quick I hid the shred, and when I looked at him again, the brave young boy was dead. He kept it from when, under fire, he tore our flag to save it from the Rebs. They might take us, our flag they should not have. We tore it in 100 shreds, without a word 'twas done. Each hid a fragment in his breast, a color guard of one. Each bore it through starvation days and proudly did his part. How should we, with our country's flag, press close upon our heart? And now the flag's come home again, and Charlie's peace is here. If he could see it now, oh boys, how he would cheer.
Oh,
Nathan Mayer.
well done, Courtney. Well done.
This is an incredible book.
I wanted you to read that.
That book is full of so many.
Yeah,
cool
this is, History of Battle Flag Day is kind of my work Bible.
Yeah.
I carry it around all day.
Yeah.
So,
And you have it all like marked and stuffed in there like a preacher walks around with his Bible.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cord, who did you say wrote that?
Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, all right. There you go.
So Nathan Mayer wrote that. He was originally a surgeon in the 11th Connecticut. He left the 11th Connecticut and joined the 16th Connecticut. He was captured at Plymouth and imprisoned. So obviously that experience lived with him, well after the war.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite poems in the book. There's a
Well, it's very
bunch of other
moving.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when Court reads it with his dramatic flair that he's got there.
Right.
John Mayer's great grandfather?
Great, I think, yeah.
Really?
No.
God. All right. So where do we want to go next? Because we need to get to the breaking and then get to the questions ASAP. So where would you like to take this next?
Should I just finish out the 17th or
Sure.
is that okay?
Wait, Carolyn wants to say something about the 17th.
All right, Carolyn.
If you compare the damage to the 17th Connecticut flag that the guys talk about occurring on Barlow's Knoll, it's evident that they're pretty accurate when they talk about how the staff was struck, and if you look at maybe Matt can show you that. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I like about the 17th Connecticut flags, when and I don't know which flag General Howard takes, but when they retreat to East Cemetery Hill, these guys are so demoralized, and they're all upset over Fowler's death. Peck says that Howard orders them to a position and then takes their flag so that they can follow. Howard in one arm carries, and I don't know if it was the national colors or the regimental flag, but he leads them to the position he wants them to be with their flag and places it on East Cemetery Hill where he wants the men to stand.
Is that it? Yep. Okay. With the coughing, I meant I want to make sure you're okay.
Are you done yet?
No. All right. That was good. Okay. Where were you taking it now?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the state flag, the other one.
Yes.
Because we've only talking about the national. So the state flag was carried by Henry T. Burns. When the regiment begins to retreat, he takes it upon himself to try and rally the men around him. And he's saying, "Rally, boys, rally to your colors," when he is struck and killed. He's hit in the head and dies. He falls on top of the flag. Let me get my notes back here. The guy who goes to pick them up, let's see. I know I got it here. 17th Connecticut. Is going to be James C. Main from I didn't have his company written down here. Anyway, so he goes to pick up the flag, and he has to go and push Henry Burns' body off of the flag. So it goes back to what we were saying. Is there DNA? most certainly on the 17th Regimental or state flag. At the same time, Thomas A. Marsh is going for the flag. He is going to be hit. And at the same time as that, Sergeant Edwin D. Pickett of Company G is going to be killed trying to bring the colors to the rear. So, at the end of the day, they are brought to the rear. Very hectic situation, but they are brought safely back to East Cemetery Hill.
Tory 1778 has a super chat, and he says, how many USCT colors do you have in Connecticut, and who designed where the flags went? I think it means designated or decided where the flags went after the war with USCT regiments coming from multiple states.
Yeah. So, uniquely.
Thank you, Tory.
So the 29th Connecticut was the first black regiment that the state of Connecticut raised. And they are unique in the way that they did not turn into a USCT by title regiment.
29th or 23rd?
29th.
29th.
Yep.
Okay.
And their flags were state flags. Their national flag, their first one, was very similar to the Frederick Rice flags. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if Frederick Rice did that one because he was kind of out of the game at that point, but similar vibe. And then the state flag was produced by Ball, Black & Company, which is one of the oldest jewelers in the United States.
Really?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
It's a different name now. I think it's like Blackstone and Frost or something like that. They changed their names after the war in 1870s, but they get an embroidered state flag, which looks a lot like the Frederick Rice flags, the painted ones. But those flags at the end of the war were state property, so they came back to the state of Connecticut. The second unit of African-American men that was raised in the state was the 30th Connecticut. The 30th could not fill to capacity of just Connecticut men, so they pulled men from other states, and they became the 31st United States Colored Troops. At the end of the war, their national flag, at their colonel's request, be returned to Hartford, Connecticut, because a number of the men were from Connecticut. So he thought it best that flag be kept among the state's war relics.
Okay.
Yep. So just 3 out of 2 regiments, or 3 flags over 2 regiments.
All right. So I think what we'll do now is we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have 1.5 million questions submitted from our patrons over at Patreon.com. The commercial break is going to be shorter than a normal. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We've shortened it a little bit for you. And so let's do that. We'll take a break. We'll be back with your questions and maybe some topless stuff.
You can lead a horse to Rome, but you can't make him drink it. Call in and ask a Gettysburg Guide. 717-420-1978. See you in a sec.
Well, I am a modern hero. My name's Paddy Carney. Not long ago, I landed from the box of sweet Killarney for the fight for Uncle Sam. He'll lead us on to Gloria. He'll lead us on to Gloria to save the stripes and stars.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about something very exciting. I want you to save the date. You know about saving the date, right? You get those invitations in the mail for somebody's wedding.
No,
save the date. What? Oh, you don't know because nobody invites you to things.
Yeah.
Well, so when they want you to go to something and they want to make sure that you're there, they tell you to save the date because they haven't gotten their ridiculously expensive gold leaf invitations out yet, right? Stop with the wedding shit. It's stupid. It's enough to save the date. Anyway, save the date for April 12th of this year. We are doing our first Ask a Gettysburg Guide live in front of an audience at the Totem Pole Playhouse out there in Caledonia, right across from Thaddeus Stevens Ironworks that Jubal Early decided to destroy when he was taking a stroll past the ironworks there. Right across the street from that is the Totem Pole Theater. Edith Bunker has a history with that place. That's right. she owned it for a while. She and her husband, and they raised their kids in that theater. But we're going there to do an Ask a Guide and really to introduce the theater crowd to the local history here. A lot of pressure on us to put a good foot forward. The Gettysburg Foundation is sponsoring us, and we're talking to a couple of other sponsors as well. But we want you to be there. The problem is you can't get a ticket just yet unless you're a patron over at patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg, or you are one of the patrons of the Totem Pole Theater. Membership has its privileges, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not going to be a member of either our Patreon or the Totem Pole's wonderfulness is what I'm trying to say, then you're just going to have to wait another week or two, and then the tickets will go on sale for the general public. They will be at an exorbitant rate as a punishment for not being members. No, I'm just kidding. They'll be the same price. But yeah, they're going to go on sale soon, and we expect you to buy the hell out of those tickets. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a chance for you to show everybody that Getty's Nerds can be fun too, and not scary and not creepy. We're fun people, okay? We're normal people, sort of. We just like people dying, carnage, which is weird. We'll go to patreon.com/addressing Gettysburg and grab one of those tickets now. We'll be right back. Or we're coming back. We're back.
Super chats of $10 or more rise above the din in the comments section. Now that that's out of the way, let's ask a Gettysburg guide. Here's Matt and the gang.
That is going to be a lot of fun, and I expect to see both of you guys there. I know you just came down this month from Connecticut, but this is April, so you got a month off, and you don't have to worry about driving down here. And then you come and be in the audience. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, Chris, you too. I expect you there.
Will you have the new live band? I mean, I wanted to compliment you on the live band that you have now.
Yes.
Will they be there?
Yes, we call it the Tad Skate 7, and it's just Tad with 7 different bass guitars standing behind him, and he plays one of them.
Nice.
Yeah, it's we're gonna see if that works. If you can just get away with playing just the bass line to popular songs, if that rouses an audience like a big band does, like Doc Severinsen or something.
There's got to be an audience for that.
What is the band that you're referring to?
The one that did all that nice background music.
Yes.
I mean, that was a nice touch. I don't remember that from previous shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we got because we didn't do them live before.
Yeah.
And so I would add that later.
Yeah. So huge budget.
Yeah. Big budget now. What's that exactly? The E Street Band. We've got what's his name? Court? No. The drummer, Conan's guy. Max Weinberg. I met him once.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He was a cool guy. He came to my college and talked about the music business, and I said, "How do you break into the music business?" And he goes, "Pick another major kid." And that was the extent of the conversation with Max Weinberg.
Yeah, he said, "Go with history."
He said, "Go with history." Yeah, he's like, "I have a feeling you'll do a lot better with that." And God damn it, he was right. But I had to wait 25 years. All right, so we're gonna get before we get to the questions though. Dan said that he has some dirt on some Civil War soldiers.
I do have some.
Yeah, tell us about the dirt.
So as I mentioned, well, first I have to sit up straight because my wife sent me a text message telling me I have to sit up straight.
Aww.
She also says no to April, so we'll have to talk about that.
What's her name?
Mary.
Mary, come on, Mary. Help a brother out.
Anyway, as I mentioned, the museum occupies the space that Burpee Post 71 met within during. Building was built in 1890 until mid 1920s or so. So we naturally have all of the meeting minutes that Burpee Post left. And GAR meeting minutes, at least around Connecticut, are notorious for being minuscule in telling us that, like, the content.
Okay.
So
they don't get into the details.
Yeah, it's camp presents with post of a beautiful GAR rug, paid the gas bill, allowed the Women's Relief Corps to place a cupboard in the anteroom for cooking. Great. But only when they get into things that really piss them off, they start to put in details. And so those are the fun things that Matt and I like to look for when we're going through these. So just as an example here, here's one where this kind of transcends the language that the Victorians would usually use. So February 12th, 1897, Relief Committee presented a bill of $1.50 in aid of Charles Weston in the Fitch's Soldiers' Home in Norton, claiming, you start off thinking like, oh, that's nice. That they paid his relief bill, right? Claiming to have belonged to the 5th New Hampshire Volunteer Infantry and the 26th Connecticut Volunteer Infantry. Bill ordered paid, but it drew comments from members, quote, that it was cleverly shown that he has recently been assisted under another name and was a, in all caps, deadbeat, and all men are warned against him. Previous to that, I don't know if this was just the year for that, but Bill sent from the Post in Spring Valley, Ohio, for 75 cents for the relief lodging of Burpee Post member Alan Jones. The Post commander instructed to communicate to the department headquarters the facts as to, quote, Comrade Alan Jones tracking through the country, having bills sent to Burpee Post and request he be published through the national headquarters as a fraud.
Jeez.
$29 for the next thing after that.
That was big.
Yeah, sending bills to national headquarters. Yeah, they'll pay this for me. That's just, I'll be fine.
Yeah, they're good for it.
Huh.
So I get that detail about something that really irritated them.
Yeah.
But then it moves to relic case arrived, case will be installed in the side room. That's the next month. Post extended thanks to Dr. A.R. Goodrich for present of relics.
So what do you think it was? You think they wanted to get on record who the deadbeats were and the scumbags were?
You know, they spent a lot of their time court-martialing each other.
Really?
They did. That's if you look at the Blue Book, which is the rules and regulations for the GAR, about 2/3 of the book are the proceedings of all the court-martials that they ever did. Usually it's about how somebody presented themselves or somebody represented themselves. There were 2 court-martials here for Burpee Post that they made sure everybody knew about. And one of them resulted in one guy eventually just leaving because he didn't want to be associated with it. But the other one, they seemed to bring him back into the fold. So it feels like they needed to air this out and everybody to know. Yeah. And they were for things that we would not necessarily consider like egregious at the moment. Like one guy was being slightly intoxicated in public one day, and they spent a lot of time on him. And then there was another man that was about this kind of devolved into this long thing that I won't go into, but it's remarks that he made about the assassination of President McKinley. They never say what the remarks are.
Right.
But
were they disparaging remarks?
Was
he happy?
Well, and that's the thing is he may have made something he made a comment off the cuff. A member of a different post heard him say it, wrote a letter to his commander and said, I just want you to know that one of your members said this. And then the next 6 months or so were them having all of these proceedings where I heard him say this and I heard him say that, but what was actually happening until finally they said, you know what, we're going to end this with a court-martial. Guy never showed up to the court-martial, so they said, okay, he must be guilty, and they publicly shamed him.
You are shamed.
Yes.
I spent all of this energy and all this time on all those things. Yeah.
All right, let's get to questions. The first question is was submitted by one of our patrons who also happens to be in the back room. So, Carolyn, would you like to ask your question out loud, or would you like me to read it because did you forget them?
I'll ask.
All right, go ahead, Carrie.
What Chris's favorite Connecticut regiment is.
Chris, what's your favorite Connecticut regiment?
So Carolyn's trying to put me on the spot, hey, tell me which your favorite kid is, or that sort of thing. But, I think I have a special affinity for the 14th. Because the surgeon was from Windsor Locks, where I grew up. As far as the reenactor community, it's the 14th Connecticut that took me under their wing several years ago. And when you look at the history of the 14th, they write a lot about Antietam, they write a lot about Gettysburg, and they write a lot about Morton's Ford. And I was present when some of the gentlemen from the 14th Connecticut crossed Morton's Ford in honor of what they did on February 6, 1864, crossing an icy cold river to attack. And what did Robert E. Lee say about that? It was a kind of a curious affair, something like that. You know, just didn't understand what they were trying to do. But
it was a cold day.
It was a cold day, and you guys reenacted it on February 6th, what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, I wasn't present for that one. When I was with them, it was a nice, beautiful September day.
Yeah, I'm not going anything cold.
But you do question your life choices when 32 degrees water hits your chest and you're like gasps.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah. But that's I have an affinity.
She has a follow-up. Would you like to ask the follow-up, Carolyn?
Follow-up.
What Connecticut regiment does Chris think made the most important contribution to the battle, and why?
The correct answer is?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all showed their mettle here.
Okay, that's a very diplomatic answer. She says also, I know Chris will talk about this, I hope. In November 2025, the museum was the recipient of the Angelovich. Is that how you say it? What is it? Angelovich. That was my other guess. Should have gone with that. Collection of the 1st Connecticut Cavalry, a great addition to the museum resources. Who would like to comment on that one?
Yeah, Bob Angelovich, that's basically his life's work, was collecting all of the information related to the 1st Connecticut Cavalry. That's the only cavalry regiment that the state produced during the war. He found descriptions of so many. I have in the museum, he donated all of his research materials that he used to create his book, Riding with Uncle Samuel, which is now serves as the very, very suitable regimental history for the 1st Connecticut Cavalry. So you want to know anything about that particular unit, he's got all the details in there ready for read. And, as with everything that we have in our collection, it's 100% open to anybody to be able to come and use as a research material.
Jeff Pasnick is the next guy here, and he's asking questions about he has a question about restoration. And before you had kind of said you're not restoring, you're conserving, right? Or preserving.
Conserving.
Conserving, that's what I thought. Didn't sound right when I said it. So he asks, is there a balance between preservation and restoration? I'm wondering about if there ever comes a time that restoration efforts actually diminish the preservation effort, which is yes, because you're not, because if you're going to restore, let me make sure I get this right. If you're going to restore some of the flags that we looked at, you would have to add material that you don't, it's not original material.
Exactly.
So you're basically making a quasi replica with the actual thing,
right?
Which is destroying it.
Yeah.
So, so let me rephrase his question though.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time where a preservation effort or conservation effort is like, if we do that, we could destroy it, or no? Because that sounds counterintuitive, but
so the question is there ever a time when a preservation or conservation effort could destroy an object?
Method could destroy it.
Yeah. I mean, and it certainly happened to our collection. And that's just in the timeline of the type of preservation efforts that were taken over the years.
Okay.
I'll give you a quick example. I won't go into all the details of it all, but like, for example, the original cast, when they brought their colors home and they deposited them into the state armory, they used what they knew how to do, what they could use to preserve their flags, knowing that maybe one day we'll get to see them again. A great example of that is the 11th Connecticut's national flag. You can clearly see where there was newspaper, put in between when they rolled it up, because they were using it how we would use acid-free tissue.
Right.
And so when you look very closely, you can see little words and little bits of paper that are kind of seared to it. I think that's quite interesting.
Well, because the veterans did it.
Did it. So,
but had their children done it,
exactly,
it would have been, you stupid idiots. Yeah.
Right. And their children certainly did do it. Before Battle Flag Day, there was a conservation effort to stabilize the flag so they could march in the parade. In the 1930s, there was a very invasive preservation method where they would use embroidery stitching to put the flag on a linen backing with a genuine silk netting, which deteriorates over time, rather than synthetic, which has a longer breakdown time. They stitched thousands and thousands of little holes with embroidery thread. And I mean, if you know anything about sewing, that's a thick thread and that's a thick needle. So now, especially with the painted flags, there are thousands of little holes. And if you know the science behind all this, the relative humidity is very important. So right now in winter, it's generally very dry outside, chapped lips, dry knuckles, all that. Well, the same thing happens to the flags. And so it contracts and then it expands in the summertime and then it contracts again if it's not in a, stable climate, like a container of some kind. And that creates fracturing. And then you find little pieces of flag at the bottom of the case, and I'm putting them into little bags and that stuff, what do you do at that point, but we hold on to it hoping that, a textile conservator with the facilities to conserve a flag in their facility would be able to take those pieces and do something good, and then it goes on and into the different eras until we get to where we're at now, which is a less invasive sandwiching of, synthetic creplin, it's like a mesh netting type thing that holds the fibers of the flags together a lot better. Not in a way where we're going to stick it back up on a flagpole, because that's not what we want to do anymore. And that's certainly how our collection in our Hall of Flags is maintained at the moment. That's something that's going to change, in years ahead as we update how we store our flags and how we care for our flags.
That's interesting. I don't know about you in the audience. I just learned today that flags get chapped lips.
They do.
Yeah.
That's what we should take away.
And you can't use lip balm.
That's right. That's what we should take away from this. Yeah. And you can't, no, you don't want to use lip balm on it. Well, no, that is interesting. And so those thousands of little holes, I would imagine over time just become one line of like a void.
Fracture.
Right. Yep. Yeah. God. But they didn't know.
They didn't know. Exactly. That's why
That's so frustrating.
I don't, curse to the sky I want to, but then I'm like, well, this is what they had available to them.
Right. What did they know?
Right.
Yeah. They tried. Their heart was in the right place.
Exactly.
Jeff also says the 14th Connecticut has 5 captured Confederate colors listed on their monument near the angle. I've read the accounts of Elijah Bacon and William Hinks and their epic capture the flag game that led to a Medal of Honor. I'm wondering what the stories are for the others. Also, I believe the 14th has the highest captured flags at Gettysburg. If so, I think we can declare them the capture the flag champion regiment of the battle.
Yeah.
Jeff.
So,
sorry, Jeff's been to my house. I can make fun of him. Go ahead.
So he mentioned Elijah Bacon and Hinks already. So we won't for time's sake, we won't reiterate those stories. But the third one was Christopher Flynn. He was an Irish immigrant serving in the 14th Connecticut. I want to say Company K. Is that what we read earlier?
That where he? Oh, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. But in the midst of the charge, he, tussled for, I think, the 52nd North Carolina and captured a flag for himself, which earned for him the Medal of Honor. Yeah.
All right. Chris Mowell says, in regards to the restoration preservation of Connecticut Union battle flags, can Chris or Matt V speak to some of the challenges associated with the NECWM's efforts to make this possible? What is the process and how do they accomplish this? All right. So you kind of didn't want to get into the details on prior times this came up, but now this person is asked, what is the process? And I am actually kind of curious myself.
So right now, what the process is for us is focusing on storage. Because right now, the way it was done, my predecessor, who really set the foundation of what the collection is right now. They did surveys, they did photographing, they did cataloging. All of that is essential to this collection. So we can build on top of that. At the same time, the way those flags were stored were a number of them when they came out of the Hall of Flags and to be put in storage, to minimize handling, which every time you handle heirloom textiles like battle flags, there is, even if it's microscopic, there is damage happening. So to minimize that damage, instead of taking it off the flag, they wrapped it around itself in tissue or acid-free tissue, and put a muslin bag around it, and they tied it up in these bottomless crates. And the whole theory behind that was the flag wasn't laying on a flat surface and creating creases, which lead to breaking and fractures to do more damage. Not how we would want. That's not how we would want ideally to store an unconserved battle flag.
So go back. What is the bottomless crate?
So the bottomless crate, it's basically a 4-sided long crate. It almost looks like a casket.
Okay.
And there are little eyelets on the side of it with rope or string that tie to the staff and hold it up off the ground.
Yep. Okay.
So there's no,
it's
only gravity. It's not actually compression.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, but that doesn't work.
It's not ideal. Especially with a lot of those flags that came out of the Hall of Flags in the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s. A lot of those flags had not been conserved prior to, 1879. A lot of these were,
sat in an unair-conditioned hall.
Right. And there's no sort of preservation
hanging
on
off
the
staff. Yeah.
And that's evident. There's certainly stress marks, there's tearing, there's fracturing, all of that kind of stuff. So now what we would do is we're updating our storage to have these nice flat racks. I was talking with Matt Van Acker from the Michigan Battle Flag Collection, and tomorrow we're going to see Jason Wilson from the Pennsylvania Battle Flag Collection, just to learn more about how they've done it, because they have very well kept collections of battle flags, and we want to, up our game to how they have it. So, they have these nice flat racks that, these flags can just be laid flat. That way, when somebody wants to see it, an ancestor comes in, I want to see this regiment's flag. All you have to do is pull the tray out.
Right.
And then, as preservation efforts continue with textile conservators, we can mount these flags, in flat frames. So they're just in the frame, holding themselves up. And we can mount those with interpretation, what those regiments did during the Civil War. Was there anything that specific flag went through in said battle? So,
and when they're on display, like if you ever take them out and put them on display somewhere, you always go to a museum. They don't want flash photography. The light has to be a certain thing and everything. Is that really? I always thought that was kind of bullshit. Is that really a thing with the light
really
and everything?
really,
Or it is.
Yeah.
What does it do?
Maybe Dan, you can speak to it a little more.
Well, ultraviolet from the sun's rays.
Well, sun, I understand, but artificial light?
Yeah, even artificial light. There is UV that is created out of it. And depending on the type of light and the type of bulb that's used, the filament that's burning in there, it causes long-term degradation. And so even we mentioned the 29th Connecticut's flag earlier on. If you pull up pictures on the internet, like you did before, you can see a pretty vivid red in the red stripes in the flag.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 30th.
Oh, the 30th,
Yeah,
right.
30th.
So the 30th, right, the flag that's there, and the national colors. And it's during the 150th cycle, the sesquicentennial, there was a huge effort to have that pulled out of storage and put on display at being, one of the only, United States, the colored regiments, they called it at the time, from Connecticut. It's only been under artificial light for the past 10 years.
Nonstop.
The
lights don't turn off.
And now when we put that away a few weeks ago, month ago,
right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas, you almost can't tell the difference between the red and the white stripes anymore. There's been that much unintended degradation from the lights, the artificial lights.
Okay, interesting.
And it's interesting too because they're different with different flags. Like that's a Philadelphia Depot flag versus a New York Depot flag. Whatever the difference
So
they're
it's the
using,
material they made.
it's the dye.
The dye, okay.
The dye in the silk.
Yeah.
It's different between the different makers.
That's interesting.
So, for
Okay.
example, that 30th Connecticut 31st USDT flag, it was made, I believe, by the Harshman brothers in Philadelphia. They made a ton of military goods during the war, including flags, and this was one of them. But that red dye is just not strong in light long term.
Right.
Versus the blue Canton, it's like nothing ever happened to it. Whatever the blue dye is, and it is just extremely strong.
And that's the perpetual struggle between the two sides of musology, really.
Right.
It's like you can try to put something, and I learned this from our conservation director, Kara, who's been great in setting us up with the most professional way of doing things at the museum. You can put something in a vacuum, in the dark, it's going to stay preserved for as long as possible, but no one's ever going to see it.
Right.
And no one's ever going to learn from it or experience it or have that moment to stand in front of that with any interpretation. So where it's the balance, right? So we do some sort of rotation between what's on display, what's not on display to try to slow and leapfrog, right? To minimize or maximize the longevity of these things for as long as we can.
Right. I lost it. I had a question to follow up there and I lost it.
That's okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. No, that's just not. LED lights, like the modern lights, it's not all
least intrusive.
So those are more gentle on them, or gentler on them, but not foolproof. It still is going to degrade them.
Everything over the course of time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
I'll quickly tell you how a place would like their flags in ideal conditions. If you go to the Smithsonian in D.C., they have, that big flag from the Star Spangled Banner from Fort McHenry. I remember going in there when I was in the Boy Scouts when I was like 13, and you go into the exhibit and you press a button and the lights come on for a very short amount of time. You only have like a minute to take it in, and then they turn off again because they don't want the flag to fade in the light.
And it's a dim light too, so it's
very
right for you to see it's dramatic as well. So.
Yeah.
I think George Washington, his tent in the American Rev Museum in Philly is like that.
Mm-hmm.
You pile in and they turn on a very low level light just for a few minutes so you can see the tent and then off go the lights.
Okay. I've learned something today, ladies and gentlemen. I have. That's the idea.
Light is overrated, Matt. That's the
telling me.
And what's the other thing we learned?
We learned a lot of stuff.
We learned that it gets hot in here when you close the door, even though I turned the heat off. Matthew Roof says, what was the average age for a Connecticut flag bearer? Did they tend to be younger men? And was it consistent with the trends from other states? And then he has a second question. What does it take to preserve? We talked about that, so I'm just going to stick with his first question. Yeah. So average age of a Connecticut flag bearer.
So yesterday I came together, put all those ages together, did the math, and some of the ages I have for some of some of the color bearers are not exact, just because I couldn't find those records of when they were born. So all that research is still ongoing, but the number I came up with was 26 to 27. None of the guys in that lineup were those particular ages, but they were pretty close. So, mid to late 20s, early 30s to mid 30s.
Peter Vermillier, do you know him?
Yeah,
Pete?
We know Pete.
Okay. Well,
spoken at the museum before.
Well, good. I like Pete. He has that book about Litchfield County.
Mm-hmm.
And it was during that one, and now that I've met you guys, Connecticut people are different. and interesting.
You're just coming to this conclusion?
Yeah, well, because,
I think
Connecticut.
the word is unscrupulous.
Right.
It's in the nutmegger name.
But no, like, I guess the stereotype of Connecticutians around the country are, like the Breakers. That's Rhode Island.
That's
isn't
Rhode
it?
Island.
Okay, but still, blue bloods. Like really rich people.
That's
what
a
is
certain
that
part of the state.
Yeah, I know, but that's what we think of. I don't think of like
that's
regular
the
people.
Panhandle,
I don't care where it is. I don't think of regular people coming from Connecticut, right? It's like all rich people. What's that?
That's the Fairfield County Gold Coast.
Thank you. To me, that's all of Connecticut. Like how the rest of the country thinks New Jersey is Newark because they only fly into Newark. Yeah. That's the only thing I ever see from Connecticut is rich people.
People that talk like this, Matt.
Yeah, that type of person, right. And so when he's talking about the stuff in Litchfield County during the Civil War, I'm like, wow, these are like regular people like you find anywhere else,
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you got your scams and your frauds and all the other things. But no, I just think it's interesting. So you guys are now, continuing to help feed that idea that Connecticut people are Americans like the rest of us. You're just like the rest of us.
There we go.
Which is not anything to be proud
More
of.
than 91 and more than 95.
Where's that going to go?
Yeah, we're part of the OG of original states.
Yeah.
So Pete Vermillier wants to know. He says, I believe the color guard of the 27th Connecticut escaped capture at Chancellorsville. Who carried their colors at Gettysburg, and what was his fate in the battle?
Yeah, I'll go into them really quick. So there is Sergeant James Brand. He was born in Canada, of all places, and he wanted to become a man of the cloth. He wanted to be a preacher or a reverend, whatever you want to call it. And when the war broke out, he was beginning his studies at Yale College in New Haven. He didn't join up immediately, but he... by 1862, there was just so much pressure, especially with those 9-month regiments. He was like, you know what? I'm going to go do it. He carries the 27th Regimental national flag through Fredericksburg, where he is slightly wounded, Chancellorsville, where he is not captured, and Gettysburg. Funny enough, though, his brother Thomas was also born in Canada, of course, they're brothers, decided to pursue a career in the United States as well, and he emigrated to Maine. War kicks off. He joins the 17th Maine. So at some point, the brother Thomas Brand was in the wheat field and is severely wounded in the leg. The 27th comes through. If anybody knows or has any sort of access to letters maybe they have written, these brothers were very close to each other on the battlefield at some point. I would love to know if they recognized each other. I mean, again, chaotic moment, probably didn't, but it would be cool.
Yeah.
After he survives the battle, they talk about planting the colors on the hill in Rosewoods. There's a placard behind the forward marker that the veterans put there saying this was the position that they held. So it is cool to go to the Capitol, go into work. I have the staff right on the shelf in front of me and see the bottom of that. And I'm like, James Brand stuck that thing right in the ground, and there's a little bit of Gettysburg soil on that.
Yeah.
Survives the battle unscathed. I don't know how. Comes out unscathed, returns to Yale College, finishes his studies, and is ordained. He is the leader of the First Church in Danvers, Mass., where he's married, goes out to Oberlin, Ohio, and then actually has a post in a religious organization in London for a little bit, and then returns and closes, his life ends in Ohio. The other guy, John F. Sanford, was not the original state flag bearer. The original guy was Amos Benton. After Fredericksburg got very sick, asks to be demoted, and the duty comes down to John F. Sanford from Milford. And funny enough, that's where some of my ancestors, in my English branch are from. And a couple of them serve in the 27th as well, so they might have known each other. Sanford worked in the shoe business with his uncle before the war, joins the regiment, eventually becomes color bearer, and also makes it through the wheat field unscathed. So both color bearers came out, not a scratch on them. Again, I don't know how. They probably would have seen Merwin be killed in front of them and continued to lead the regiment forward. Again, plants the flag. We actually took the flag off its staff a couple of years ago. So that was the first time in 160-something years that the flag is now off the staff. Back to Sanford, though. He finishes out his days with the 27th, joins the 1st Connecticut Heavy Artillery, and then takes a commission with the 31st USCTs, who we've talked about their flag. And if you would like to see, this is his likeness. If you would like to show the camera that.
Very
That's
cool.
when he
I will
was...
show the camera that.
He was a...
I don't know, Tad can... yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay.
He was an officer.
There we go.
And those guys, I believe, saw action in the crater, too. So that was not a
Tad,
pretty
go to
day
the
for
overhead.
anybody.
Maybe it'll be better up there. No, because of the light. Yeah.
Well, I could always send you a picture and you can put it up for
yeah,
for
try
anybody.
it again. Come back.
Just you on your you host Matt, guest Matt. Just
Right.
You do it.
What?
Camera.
Oh,
Here,
yeah.
hold it there. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
There we
So
go.
young guy finishes out his military service with the 31st, and right after the war goes and joins his uncle, who has now moved from New York to South Carolina, and he is still in the shoe business. Eventually starts to open his own storefront in Brooklyn, New York, Michigan, and I think Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great mustache.
Yeah, he has a great mustache.
Yeah.
If there's anything to be said about Civil War facial hair, it's
Oh,
always
I'm
great.
telling you. I'm telling you.
But
well,
you
this
know.
guy over here.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. I'm jealous of that. I wouldn't have the nerve to try. I'm afraid. I haven't.
It just means I can't commit any crimes because I'm pretty.
Yeah. You just have to shave it right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph Siegel is a licensed battlefield guide. He's also a patron, like you, Chris, right?
Absolutely.
Ralph's actually here. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, then he can come in and answer his own damn
Ralph's
question.
here. Well, Ralph, would you like to ask your question, or would you just like to talk, Ralph?
He can answer his own question.
Ralph, let's hear from you.
Now, Matthew, the Connecticut people here at the battle, can you tell me about them?
Ralph.
They were here. They were all here.
That's Bernie Siegel. Ralph Siegel says, please discuss Private Joseph L. Pierce. Please discuss him. Go ahead.
Like I said, I think Ralph can answer his own question being a guide.
I don't know. I think that's the one thing he's pretty weak on.
You think so?
Joseph Pierce.
Okay. Well, according to our colleague, Ed Guy, there was a claim that there was only one man born in China that served in the Army of the Potomac.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a man in the 70s.
Carolyn says no.
Oh.
Antonio Dardell, 27th Connecticut.
Antonio Dardell
Yes, 27th.
was Chinese?
I think Pacific Islander.
Really?
Those are adopted names.
Of course.
I think I led Carolyn astray because I started by reading Ed's article here that the claim was made, but the claim is not true.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
And who was the one?
And there's
Antonio
another
Dardell.
Confederate, I can't remember his name,
Yeah.
Confederate Chinese, who is buried in Carton Cemetery from the Battle of Franklin.
Lionel Wang.
Get
Did you ever
his
see
name
Murder
not
by Death?
Name at home.
They tried to hide it, but they only changed his first name. No, I'm not laughing at you. I made a. Did you ever see Murder by Death?
No.
The old Neil Simon movie. No,
You got to watch it.
It's funny.
Got to watch it.
You've seen it?
No. Not for a very long time.
you.
Didn't it come out in like 1970?
It's 74 or something like that. Yeah. It's
So-
like Clue before Clue.
So Joseph Pierce is the other one, other man from China. He's from Canton, China. He enlists at the age of 21 in Company F, 14th Connecticut, in New Britain. It described at enlistment as 5 foot 5 inches tall, dark complexion and hair, black eyes, occupation farmer. So, says he was often absent from his regiment, gets hurt at Antietam, falling backward over, hurt his back, falling over a fence at that battle. Is listed as sick in Alexandria, Virginia in 1862 until March of 63. He does assist as a cook and works in the quartermaster department of the convalescent camp. He's again absent from February 9, 1864 to October 20, 1864 on recruiting service in New Haven. So the records for May and June of 63 list him as present, so he should have been with the regiment here, the 14th Connecticut. So he's eventually appointed corporal in November of 1863, and he's mustered out in May of 65 and returns to Connecticut, marries a Martha Morgan. She's from Portland on November 12, 1876, and they live in Branford.
Missouri? Oh, that's Branson.
Yeah. It is. So hopefully Ralph was able to glean something from that he's able to use on his tours going forward.
Thank you very much.
As I would
what
expect,
was that, Ralph?
Very good.
Thank you.
No, I'm from New Jersey.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, we had a New Jersey fan on earlier.
Thank you. Yeah, right.
Sure we did.
A Jersey file from Australia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ralph. Very kind of you to join us. Ken Miller says the 17th Connecticut also had a surprising connection to P.T. Barnum. What was that relationship, and how did Barnum play a role in the regiment's early history? And go ahead and answer that. Whoever'd like it. Don't all jump at the chance. Go ahead. Carolyn?
Elias Howe, maybe?
Well, I think
P. Barnum and Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine, they were prominent, very pro-union recruiters and patriots, P.T. Barnum was Colonel Noble's business partner, if that's the connection that they're speaking of.
Yes.
So Colonel
Sorry.
Noble and P.T. Barnum were business partners. They did real estate in Bridgeport, et cetera, entrepreneurs trying to, populate the east side of Bridgeport, Washington Park, all that. But it was also Elias Howe, who was the richest man in Connecticut. At the time, he was the inventor of the sewing machine, and he enlisted as a private in Company D. He was ill throughout the war. He became the postmaster for the regiment. Sometimes he made the payroll for the regiment when, the government failed to pay the men. So there were some very prominent people that supported the 17th Connecticut.
Yes. That I'm actually reading right here that she's absolutely right. He was a business partner of Colonel Noble, and all the other stuff she said too. They supported Governor Buckingham. Yeah. Well done, Carolyn. Well done. Anybody else like to add anything to that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I have the Chinese, the Confederate Chinese, the name of him. His name was Charles Chan, 24th Texas Cavalry, and he is buried in grave 66 of the Texas section at Carton after the Battle of Franklin.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll send you that article if you're interested.
Yeah.
Sure.
American history is so interesting because, we're led to believe one thing about, whatever. And then you look at pieces of history like, what was Charles, what? Chan?
H-O-N, Charles Chan. Yes.
And I would never think that the Confederate Army would allow a Chinese guy to fight with them. And there you go. He was in a Texas cavalry regiment.
Mm-hmm. That's Texas for you.
Texas is, they welcome with open arms. Okay, so One more question from our audience here in the Super Chat section. Eric W. says, great show, topics, and guests as always. No question today. Just wanted to start a new microphone fund for Tad. Sounds like he's about to ask me to pull up to the second window to complete my order. I have to explain that, and I have to apologize. We normally don't have 3 guests in the room here. We have 4 microphone inputs on our mixer, and it's 3 in here, 1 in the back. When we have 3 guests, I have to take the microphone out of the back and put it in here. And then we have an intercom, much like what they use at a drive-thru or your bank or whatever. And, or like a waiting room. You go into a waiting room in a doctor's office or something, and they got the glass and the intercom. That's exactly what it is I bought. And so that's so that when we have a situation like this, we can still communicate with the back room. And it sounds terrible. It sounds terrible, I know.
Thank you for continuing to perpetuate the idea that I am poor. Thank you so much for that.
Poor Tad. He has the same sweatshirt every day, and he has to speak on a drive-through intercom.
Fucking hate you.
I'm sorry, Tad. They don't make a better mixer than this with 6 or 8 mic inputs. There's nothing I can do. I'm so sorry. And Matt Gillespie gave us a super chat, and he said to give our guests a Dan Butterfield.
Dan Butterfield.
And that's what you get for being wonderful, for making us laugh, making a good point or something like that, or just being good guests. And that's what you guys were today. And so Matt decided to buy you a Dan Butterfield. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much for coming down here and doing this. I hope it wasn't a disappointment. I really do. I wasn't disappointed. I really enjoyed listening to you talk. I find this stuff very fascinating with the preservation or conservation. And just that these things last this long and they've got such great stories attached to them. And there's a series of lectures that they do here at the park called If These Things Could Talk. And every time I hear these stories, I'm like, man, or if I see something like that, I'm like, if this thing could talk, the stories it could tell,
We think of that every time we're in the museum. I mean, It's an original hall. It's got all the woodwork's original, all the furniture's original. And
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I was out to the Captain Espy post out in the Carnegie Library. And the story with that is so cool because it was like locked up for decades.
Right, yeah.
And just
capsule.
Yeah, and there were a couple of like punk kids in the 60s that like broke into the window and maybe stole a sword or something like that. But for the most part, when they opened it, it had been untouched since it was closed, I think after the last veteran died. Don't quote me on the story. I forget. It's been a long time. But it was just so cool to like go into this room, very small room, but all that stuff, right? And the last people prior to the people who now take care of it, who touched it and saw it, were the veterans. It is really neat stuff to see.
Well, we have the next best thing, which is that that hall has been continually used for that purpose that entire time. So there are buildings that were built earlier, but since our Sons of Union Veterans Camp meets there, they've met there continuously since it was built. So they've been able to help maintain that with the help of the town. The town are great partners to us to help keep the place going. All of that was allowed to be protected all the way through the course of time. So not only do we have those original artifacts, the items that the guys donated, but everything that they sat in, everything that we even have a picture from 1908 during the 100 years celebration for the town of Vernon, where we put the original picture back in its where the photographer was standing, and we've recreated everything in that picture pretty close to what was there in 1908 when that was pretty much the heyday of all of them there. So we're able to keep a lot of that there. And so that's what we think is like, we're sitting in the same spots as these guys.
Yeah.
My first cousin 5 times removed, Sam Ellis, was the commander of that post. And so when I was commander of our son's post, I got to stand in the same spot that he stood in.
Yeah, that's got to be cool.
And it's just, you get the get the willies when you're there.
Sure.
One of the neatest things that I've seen in the museum, and it's well worth a visit. You can get on up to Rockville and see it. But the photograph of the veterans, and can you talk a little bit about that, them posing for that, and then afterwards?
Yeah, and it actually through the meeting minutes, you can tell we should get a picture taken. We should get a picture taken. We got the picture taken. They got the picture taken in 1898 with everybody who was a member at the time. And then it was, hey, we need to document who we were in there. Let's pay somebody to write our names really nice underneath it. And actually my cousin, that finally, it took him 6 or 7 years to make that decision to do that. But one of the neatest thing about that picture is that there are 3 members in that picture of the post that weren't there when the picture was taken. So it was the 1898 version of Photoshop where they took their profiles from sitting pictures and they sort of pasted them in the back. So the game we play with our our visitors is see if you can pick out which 3 guys are there. Yeah. And if you look real close, you can see that the proportion is just off enough.
It's not easy.
Isn't hitting
Right. The shadows coming from this way with everybody else is coming from that way. Yeah.
Why is that dude's head so much bigger than everybody else's head? Yeah.
Right. He had elephantitis. Yeah. Not that that's funny. Elephantitis, very serious thing. Tad has it. What, Tad?
Nothing. He does.
Okay.
He does.
Okay, good. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with you guys. This was really cool, and maybe I'm gonna have to come up to Connecticut sometime and see what it's like because I've had a completely different and incorrect idea of what it is. It's not all blue bloods. It's real people too, and I like real people. I like the blue bloods when they want to donate to Digital History Pioneers Foundation, which is our nonprofit, of course, at dhpioneers.com. But the regular people are fun. Regular people are fun. We have a lot of fun with you guys. Matt, Dan, Chris, thank you. Carolyn, thanks for coming. Court, thanks for coming. Tad, great job. And thanks for putting up with the teasing. All right. He's just doing the finger. Great. Thanks to everybody for all of the... there we go. See you later.
Hosted by Matt Calorie with Mikey B. Bariski, and Courtney Micker. Produced by Matt Calorie and Courtney Micker. Guides appear gratis, but they would love for you to hire them for a tour on your next visit to the battlefield. To be put in touch with one, send an email to matt@addressinggettysburg.com. Thanks for watching.
Our hearts so stout have got us fame, forsooth 'tis known from whence we came. Wherever we go, they dread the name of Gary Owen and glory. Instead of spot,
release the captain, please. Release the captain, please.
Instead of spot, drip down and pay the reckoning on the name. No man for death shall go to jail.
Nothing good will come of this. It'll either be my day off or my day on. She's a force.